Hey guys, time for the final part of the Bumblebee polymer clay pen. This is going to be the last portion of it, and this is probably going to be the last polymer clay I'm going to do for a while when I get back to doing my mixes, my glitter mixes, and acrylic nails and stuff like that. So, this is also my second attempt of doing this because my son was making such a ruckus with his toys that you couldn't even hear. So, I apologize. On this pen, what I did was I loaded my tray with some black and some white paint. This pen is what we finished in our previous videos. What I've done already is just come in and I painted some small black lines on each of the bumblebees. I also wanted to show you too that I had made, which one was it? It was this bottom one here. This bottom one here, I had gotten a little bit of a black dot of paint on his top white wing. So what I did was I had an old nail file that's not a really coarse grit on it at all. It's pretty fine. And I cut it at an angle to help get into some smaller areas. But I used this, and I came in and I just filed the white part of it. And that actually took off the black. So if you make any mistakes or anything, keep that in mind. Grab an old nail file or something. It will take it off. So I'm letting this dry right now. And while that's drying, I am getting the bee. And I used, if you saw my previous video, I used translucent clay. And I did not like it at all. I did not like the way that it looked. I didn't like the way that it came out. So if it was me to do this again, I would use white for the wings, but for this one, with it being already done, I just went over it and did a couple coats of white acrylic paint on it, and it kind of shows through a little bit, so it's not too bad. I'm not just 100% disappointed with it. It would have looked better with solid white, though. But if you're going to use the solid white, what I would suggest to do is form your wings on here, but don't attach them on here. Bake them separately than the rest of your bee, because your bee, I baked this for 30 minutes. You don't want to bake the wings for 30 minutes because they're so thin, it'll burn. Probably, I had a little dark mark on one other thing I did, so it's probably going to leave dark marks from the heat and exposure on the wings. So I would form them, bake them, then come back on and attach them if I was to do this one again. So at this point, I have some black acrylic paint. I'm using a flat brush. It's not a very big brush, maybe a quarter inch. So what I'm going to do now is put some black acrylic paint on that brush. I'm not going to load it up a lot, but I'm going to put some on each side. And then I don't want to get close to the bee's head because the black already from his head, so I'm going to leave about the width of the brush in yellow, and then I came in and I'm going to go over it just again with the black and just make a stripe. I'm letting the width of the brush define the width of the stripe. This way they're pretty much going to be consistent. And that's it. I'm not going for perfect stripes. I'm just going for black stripes. You know, if you want to take your time and make sure all lines are perfect, that's fine. But, you know, I'm not really going to do that. So I'm there again. I left approximately the width of my brush. And now I'm going to come in and do another stripe. And this one actually is ending up over the hole. So I'll just do it like that. That looks pretty close. And then I'll keep this side here and attach the two sides like that. And then maybe fill in the inside around the hole a little bit like that. And then leave approximately the width. And then, I'm sorry, please. Here, Jordan. You're welcome, honey. Here you go, pumpkin. Okay. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do then is leave the width of the brush again, and then come in and do Another stripe. And when I go do this, I'm going right into the corner where the wing meets the body. I'm getting as close to it as I can. I am touching it a little bit, but you don't want to touch it too much because you don't want to get the black paint on there. Like that. And then the back of this looks like what's going to happen is, and this is what I was hoping actually would happen, is the width of the brush there again, and then it looks like we're going to start right here. And what I'm going to do is take a line like this, straight as I can. Pretty close. And I'm actually going to take this one the whole way around. And I was hoping that it would end this way because I wanted to make the back part of this bee all black. So I'm just making a circle all around the back of it, meeting at the end. There we go. And I'm going to take a little bit more and I'm going to clean this edge up a little bit more. There we go. If your acrylic paint doesn't have very good coverage, it might show through some yellow, so you might have to wait till it dries and then do a second coat. But other than that, there's the body of the bee. So at this point, I'm done with the black paint. There's one more fine detail that I want to paint, and that is the face. I'm going to paint a little smiley. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do a smiley. Yeah, I'll do a smiley face. Let's do smiley face. I'm going to paint a little smiley face on this little guy, and I am using white acrylic paint this time. And I'm just going to do two small dots for her eyes. And I think my white paint is starting to dry already. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to add some more paint on my little dish here because that was starting to dry already. Okay, let's try this again. That's much better. Okay, so I'm going to touch the eyes again. It's better. Just like that. And then I'm going to do very fine lines. And if they end up too thick, don't worry, because you can always use your nail file and file them off and redo it. Just make sure that you wait until they're dry. Okay. And then, last and certainly not least, I'm going to do a smiley face on her. And my paint is turning black, and I don't know why, because I didn't use this on anything black. Alright. So I'm going to start there, and I'm going to end there. I'm going to do a small one on her. Nothing too big. And that's it. So, B's done. If you want to do any touch-up parts, that's fine. So, she's going to take a little bit to dry. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the final touches on the pen for you, and then you'll just do the same thing with the B. And I'm going to be using the Sculpey Gloss Glaze. And what I'm going to do is just use an oval brush. This is just a Rose Art junky brush that I got for my son, and he never used it, so I took it off of him. And I'm just putting some on the brush. And I'm just going to come in and cover everything. I was thinking, you know, do I want to leave the purple pen part? Do I want to leave it matte? Do I want to, you know, do I want to gloss it? I wasn't sure, but I'm going to do everything. So that whenever this is all done, this entire thing will be shiny. And with the dots, too, here's a little tip. The dots that we pushed into our flowers, once you put the glaze on it, the glaze is going to settle on those dots. So dry off your brush onto a paper towel and come back in and dab over it again, and that'll pull that extra glaze out of those little holes. Same thing with the leaves. If it seems like that if you're doing impressions on your leaves, the glaze will there again settle into those grooves, which is okay, but I come back in with a little bit of a dry brush to pull some of that out. And I'm going to keep going over this entire thing. And I'm sorry, I still have yet to figure out how to do a video and then finish it, to edit it, to post pictures at the very end. So once I glaze everything, I will do one last very quick video of the absolute final product of what they both look like when they're both glazed. I'm going to glaze the B too, but she has a little bit to dry with the black acrylic paint before, so but as you can see just from doing all of this, the top part is starting to dry already. It does say 24 hours for it to dry completely. It's going to dry so that you can touch it before that. But I would suggest not using the pen for at least 24 hours after you glaze it. So there is just a quick look at what the final product is going to start to look like. And I'm going to stop there. I'm going to finish glazing. I'm going to let things dry, and then I'll come back in and do the final end product. And I hope everybody has enjoyed this, and I'll see you one last time.